All right, so for BTC, we see here on the 4-hour, let's go ahead and refresh this, where we took entries at this 51-100 to 200 grid based off the break of structure at this psychological level 50,000 and the breach of this liquidity region that we remained above. 5 days, 12 hours, higher time frame liquidation that we can clearly see here around this 53,000 psychological level that we've just managed to breach. So that's very significant. Also simultaneously taking out current, or I would say now previous daily highs, that being 52,900, 53,000 rounded off. And now stating being at 5360, right? So if we can manage to get a retracement into 53,000 psychological level and hold that area, right? Then we could potentially see opportunities for another gatherance of entries at this area, this psychological level here. Let's go ahead and change the template of this and then continue to move higher into our final targets, that being 55,000 to the 56,000 grid, right? So 100 pip grid that we're looking at, where we're looking for then a bearish reversal and shorts to then take place from said area. Now, if we look at the weekly break of structure here, this being November of 2021, at this 55,000 psychological level, no retest, as well as a break of structure here at this 60,000, 58 to 60,000 region that we'll say 200 pip region we have that could be potentially tested if we manage to run past this 55, 56,000 area. Of course, time will only tell and we'll take it one step at a time from there. But we've been waiting after, for this consolidation in ranging market. And now we see bullish engulfing on the 4-hour time frame. We also see this potential or previous potential, right? Because we didn't get the closure. We rejected before we managed to get a closure of, right, this bearish variation pattern right here, or bullish variation. So we see the bullish engulfing doji, and then being the 50%, right? This line right here, 51,149, managed to get a closure above here, would have been a closure above the 50%, which we did, but we see in this daily candlestick, we just skyrocketed before we managed to get that closure. 5 hours left for the closure of this candlestick. Let's see. And it's going to be very significant if we can manage to close around this 53,000 psychological level, right? Or above, that being previous daily highs as well, where we had this 5-day liquidation. So with that being said, updates on Bitcoin will follow, looking for 55 to 56,000 and shorts from said area. If not, if we do not get a price action signal, that's going to coincide with our bias for reversals at that area, then we could potentially see price run a bit higher into the 58, 60,000 grid or region, right? That being a 200 pip region from those said two areas. And then we could see price potentially move from there. If we look at the total chart, right? 2.05 trillion, this being the total market cap for crypto overall, right? The crypto world overall, not just Bitcoin. So if we can manage to see here from where price currently is going into this next structure area, that's going to be very significant, 2.055 trillion. That's about a 3% gain in correlation with Bitcoin. Let's see how far up to 60,000, what we're looking at. 3% gain for Bitcoin. So in correlation would be around our current final targets, that being 55,000, 56,000. 60,000, 58,000 would be, say about 6-7%, since that's about 5.8. So we're going to cap it off here. Time will only tell, looking for closures and a run into our final targets. And then once we test 55 to 56,000, we will go from there and see if we're looking for our bearish reversals, where we look on the weekly time frame and then go for this forecasted setup down back in the 55,000, down back in the 50,000, down back in the 45,000, and finally looking to test 24,000 and 21,000 at the lowest. Obviously, these being swing targets, and this being the majority of, this year's move, what we're looking for in the future.